Alrighty, I'm back, guys. Thank you. So basically, what we're going to be doing for this portion of the stream is I'm going to be giving the very basics on Bughouse. And, sorry, oh my gosh, I'm really coughing a lot today. I think it's the change in the weather. It's becoming fall. So I need to find a partner. Bughouse is my partner. So right now we're literally going to learn the extreme basics of the basics of Bughouse. For those who don't even know anything about Bughouse practically, I'm going to teach it as if there's like you don't know anything. If it will let me plus play. So sorry. Alrighty, so we seek a game. Alright, so the basic rules of Bughouse. So sorry. Alright, so first of all, you have a partner. And you play as like white or black, and then your partner plays as the other color. So I'm black here, and your partner plays as white. And the two games go on at the same time with clocks that have all the same time. Your opponent's clock, your partner's clock, and his or her partner's opponent's clock. And you play. Sorry, it is a little bit hard to explain while while playing. So the main goal is to win, as always, similar to chess or to Crazy House. You want to checkmate or flag, or you want your partner to checkmate or flag. So the pieces that you capture on your board, your partner gets in hand to drop at their leisure, whenever they want, on an empty square. Has to be an empty square, unoccupied. Whereas it's so basically here a knight mates my partner. I wish my partner was in Skype with me because it's a little hard to tell my partner what is maybe the preferable move to not die here for them. I guess we're downtime. I can move this over a little bit. There we go. So we are... How are we down so much time? Oh my lord. So a knight and a queen mate my partner, and a rook, which is 1,000,000% impossible to stop, unfortunately, because knight's coming in to take g6 here, and if I move my queen out of the way to be attacked from this vertical capture, knight takes here, I have to move my rook, and then pawn at e6 pins the rook and the knight, which is basically what mates my partner, so I have to resign. But yes, the pieces you capture, your partner gets, and then vice versa. The pieces your partner gets, like captures from his opponent, you get to place on your board whenever you want. And it goes the same for your opponents. Also, always blame your partner. It's never your fault. So we're not going to get into theory yet, so try to ignore the lines that I'm playing just for now if they seem new or confusing. Some moves are not even theory, they're just variations I created. So it's always good to keep an eye on your partner's board. Oh, I'm dropping a bit of a piece here. So pieces are good for me. Dropping pieces are not even like the worst thing in the world if you have like an attack. Like The problem is that you need to be fast, so your partner and you both can't really sit. Because that basically kills you. So yeah, I accidentally dropped a piece in the opening here, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's the end of the world. So basically, another thing, I don't know, what else are the basics of Bughouse? You always want to be uptime, and you always want to be aware of what your partner wants slash needs. Queen is coming. That's not what queen. See, it's hard to say, like, this piece is coming right now. You should defend so that you don't get mated against it. There's no way to say that on chess.com, unfortunately, unless you type it or are in Skype. Are there any good books about Bughouse? I guess not. I guess no. So here I've got pressure, just building. Maybe a queen at h3 is the best here. My partner's in trouble. But our opponents are double sitting. So here, my partner needs to go and take the queen. Can you take the queen? Bughouse, please. Don't sit. Okay, you need to defend. Like, queen, like, just defend. So I've got some attacks coming up here, which I'm hesitant to play right away. So my partner should drop possibly queen to defend the knight coming to e2 with pretty much any move. And instead he made it himself and won with knight at e2, but that's okay. Oh, I just gave a second knight. Oh, I thought that bishop ran there. Okay, so that's fine. So basically, when you're this is actually another thing I guess I could sort of teach in here, is that if you are partnered to a sorry, hello, yeah, I am. Okay, sure. Yep, yep. What lawyer? Well, that's expensive. Yeah, that's so weird. Yeah, no, screw them. Just find someone else. Jeez, this talk about frickin', what is it? The word. Talk about inequality. That's literally the definition of offensive inequality. Just like unfair laws placed against minorities. That's so unfair. Like for other lawyers, it's like what, $25, and then for us, it's man, the government's corrupt. Okay, I don't know when that will be. Of course. Bye. So, just waiting for opponents here. But so yeah, to summarize what I've said so far, Bughouse is a game where you play with a partner and there's two boards involved. You're playing as black or white, and then your partner plays as the other color. And then your opponents are also partnered, and the goal is to checkmate on either your board or your partner's board. So your partner checkmates or you do. And you could also flag your opponents, and both result in like a win for you and your partner. And whatever pieces you capture, your partner gets in hand to place on an empty square whenever they want. It doesn't have to be right away, it could be 15 moves later, it could be on that move, doesn't matter. And then vice versa, pieces your partner captures, you get. And then the same rules apply for your opponent's partnership. So that's kind of the main basics of Bughouse. Does someone else want to partner me? We can. I'm willing to partner anyone if Bughouse doesn't want to play. You want to try, Philip? Let me partner you. Is it Philippe? Filipino? Sorry, I'm not reading the whole name. Sorry, Bughouse. We'll tag you out for this round. Sure, Lazy, I'll partner with you too, but I think Filipino Rahul 13 asked first. Bughouse, don't be sorry. So there's many different lines in Bughouse. This is kind of a very kind of classic D4, D5 line with a slight kind of variation on it. I'm also extremely rusty with the openings, but it's not a big deal. So yeah, the important thing is to try to stay up time, because if you're down time, it causes a lot of issues. Like your opponent can sit and wait for pieces that they want. Oopsies, what just happened there? I wish I could suggest moves easily. So, like, queen at g3 is decent here for my partner, as it kind of covers this whole threat of the knight coming back out, and like knight at h3 and like queen at g2 threats, queen at h, like pawn at g2 and queen at h1 threats. But my partner doesn't want to play it, which is okay. We're downtime, so I'm hesitant to want to take pieces. Pawn at h6, attack. So basically I'm saying here, maybe just attack. I'm kind of baiting my opponent to take on g7, just so that this knight no longer has a defender. My partner still doesn't seem to want to try that, because now my partner's probably about to get mated. But that's okay. My partner needed to defend with like a queen at g3, but they didn't decide to do that. Also, maybe listen to your partner suggestion of moves. Is also a good idea sometimes. It's good to listen to your partner's ideas. Yeah. It's not actually that much multitasking. I can break it down simpler. I just wish that this was like a better interface for it to suggest moves, you know? Yeah. So we're gonna play the same opponents again. This is another line. That's actually not the general move for it, but usually you take the knight as black. So I'm watching my partner's board, and I know that a knight is going to hurt my partner. Not that there's anything I can do about it at all, except for maybe sit it down. But I mean, he's got two checks with queen h5 and queen f3. My partner's almost mated in this position. Good rule of Bughouse to avoid this kind of. This is why I should probably teach the theory and the lines first, because you don't play. Well, I mean, actually, in Bughouse you can play like c5, but you should never let them sack on f7 when your king is in a position to not have any space to like go down to f8 or g8. Like being sacked on is okay, but yeah, you need to have space to run basically. And here, there's really nothing I can do about holding pieces. There really isn't. So yeah, my partner's pretty much mated here. There's nothing they can really do. Yeah, because with king g6 and then it's just a rough time. Like the queen comes to h5 after bishop at f7. And then that's mate in one, which is basically the idea behind why it's not good to let someone sack on you. Because in Bughouse, two major points, like just like in Crazy House, the f2 and the f7 pawns are access points, and in Bughouse it's much more common to sack than in Crazy House, just because if they get the pieces that they want, it's that much easier for them to attack you. Where in Crazy House, you have to get your own pieces. Yeah. So we can try again. So, like, there's a lot of theory behind these lines. It's not like chess, though, where, you know, like the theory involves knowing what pieces might come, not just about positional play. A lot of the theory comes from, hey, I might get a pawn in the next few moves. This move could be good if that happens. So a lot of theory comes from that. Yeah. So usually in Bughouse, in like faster time controls, like 2 minute, by now both sides would have a lot of pieces. Um, it's usually a much faster paced game than this. This is considered extremely slow for Bughouse, like unbelievably slow. Like if you played this slow on any other Bughouse, like on actual Bughouse kind of sites, you would have lost by now. Like just completely. Because you pre-move practically the entire opening. But first of all, pre-moving on the site's a little bit difficult because of the lag. So that we run it like, see, I still haven't gotten a single piece since the game started. So it becomes difficult to play because you play a lot of moves in Bughouse, setting up good positions to play once you get pieces. And then if you don't get them, it becomes a little bit more difficult, which is where like if you're really good at bullet or chess, those come into play in these kind of situations. Unfortunately, I'm not the best chess player, so I tend to struggle in certain situations where I'm kind of like a really good rule is to never play positions where you need pieces, but it's good to play positions where pieces would be good when they come. You should never play and be like, oh my gosh, now if I don't get a piece, I'm 100%, my entire like position's gonna fall. That's not good. You have to play with anticipation that you could get nothing as well. So right here, my partner has the problem with knight at h3 coming in. A good move could be just taking the bishop. Like king takes bishop can be good here, just because the bishop that comes bishop at h3, if no queen comes or a rook, my partner's pretty safe, and the knight's less of a threat. If he knocks out this knight on f3, it gets a little bit more dangerous, but it's still not a huge deal. So here I'm just, so he has to go down to g1 to avoid like pawn at g2 threats, pinning the king and the rook. And then of course if he goes up, he gets mated very quickly with like any kind of variety of attacks there. Sorry. Oh my gosh, literally the struggle here. So my partner's still sitting. I don't know why. I actually don't know why my partner's sitting. In Bughouse, you can't sit because you will lose on both boards really quickly, which is where I explained the importance behind, gosh, I'm not going to give that rook, behind having a partner that knows how to, you know, play in a certain way. So here my partner's getting mated because he didn't block the threat that I just explained, which was knight at h3 and then knight at f4, knight at h4 if the knight on f3 was knocked out. If he takes with knight, he's mated in 1. If he takes with king, he's mated in 2. It's kind of a rough time. Alright, so I'm going to thank him for partnering. And now I'm going to partner lazy MD. If I can figure out how to add the lazy MD as a friend. Thank you. That made my life easier, to be honest. Right there. Okay, so now we partner lazy MD. My startup disk is almost full. Hope that doesn't create more lag for me. I'll fix that in a second. So this is kind of like fine. Like all of these are just like, none of these are like 100% set in stone lines. Now the main thing here is to try to avoid like sort of pawn at h2 threats, which is a huge thing in Bughouse. I know it's pretty big in Crazy House too, but it's huge in Bughouse. So now it's kind of like getting pieces is good. I can go as far as, I can go as far as sacking a bishop, dropping it on h6, because if I can get the attack that I want, and here pieces are coming quickly, so doing something like that is actually good. Like a knight's good here, so I could ask for a knight, and I know it's probably going to come soon because like 2 knights are being attacked here, and my time is closer to my opponent's. It's still not optimal, but see, I get a knight, and then, you know, the whole game changes. Like if I didn't get that knight, I could have been in, you know, a certain amount of trouble. Right? And then now knight, rook, and queen all have mating threats. Pawn at e2, I see that, but I'm not worried about it. And then now taking this pawn, I'm also not worried about that. Knight is still good. So now, to pay attention to what my partner's saying, he's saying that rook and queen are bad. And that's because he's not necessarily not very defended, but saying no to that is helps, like, you know, protect from possible future threats. So now I have the queen, and then I have the mate with this. So now we can talk a little bit. I can go if I'm going to talk about actual lines in Bughouse, technically you're not supposed to play that. Letting the bishop develop like this quick is generally not a line that you play in Bughouse. Uh, I actually don't know the follow-up to it very well, just because no one ever plays that. So here, like a knight is good, or anything to block this diagonal. Also, potentially just bringing the knight to d5, putting pressure on this pawn, blocking off any threats with pawn at e7. Then maybe a knight on h5 would be his idea to attack this pawn, but simply you could bring the rook over, and then you have the knight on d7, defending any kind of rook at f8 mating threats. And then you can just bring your other knight around, try to get it to e4. And now there's no threats because you're covering all these squares, which is where these pieces, this knight and this bishop, are attacking. So now there's nothing nothing that you're worrying about too much. Here, yeah, just place it, d7. The queen can come here thinking that it's gonna be tricky. You can take this pawn or you can drop a pawn. That's nothing to worry about because, like I said, our pieces are covering these squares. And now what he's probably thinking is, I'm going to just do an exchange. I'm going to drop a knight on e5. I'm going to ask my partner for the knight. I'm going to say no knight, not because it's mating me, but just because sometimes you can ask for your partner to hold material simply because it's good for your position. And here I'm blocking off with the knight at d5. That's both attacking and defending c7 if my queen were to move. So here, I'm just going to take the queen. Lazy MD is saying still. I don't know how to say okay now on this site, unfortunately. So here, there's a lot of good moves. I don't even know which one I want to play, to be honest. I kind of like maybe this, just to capture that bishop. I don't know how to say okay now on chess.com, unfortunately. And then I can even drop this bishop, just placing more defenders everywhere. Like dropping a knight, takes the pawn. I take this pawn. I can just drop my pawn here. I have options of what I can do here. To defend the knight, I can just take this pawn. I could take here, which is what I'm going to do. There's pawn at d7 threats. I can take that and then run my king down to f8, and I'll probably be pretty safe. And now just taking here, he can bring his king out to try to take my knight. He doesn't. I move my knight around. I can just totally ignore everything. And knight mates here. So if I ask for a knight and can get a knight, I look at my partner's board. There's no real possibilities for it. Rook and queen also mate. But we're down a little bit of time, and it doesn't look like it's coming too quickly. So instead, I'll just push h5. Because now there's an attack with pawn at d7, but because my knights are defending this square so much, there's no real threat. Even a pawn placed here is not a huge threat. And then I just have mate because another thing is I've cut off the king's squares to run to, and then just, it's just simple from there. You just place a check and it's checkmate. Queen e8 mates on the other board. Yeah, no, that's true, Opera, but I believe I was downtime, which was the thing there. Atchafeed is better than me at Crazy House. I believe that I'm better than him at Bughouse, just because I've had a lot more years playing it. I've been playing it since I was about 11 years old, and I've studied it pretty in depth, and it's very different from Crazy House, so he's better at Crazy House than me, for sure, though. I need to push new game, thank you. Yeah, that is a really good idea, Opera. You're for sure 100% correct. If you have a piece that is going to mate, your partner could just sack and get it. Let's say a pawn mates. Your partner could give up their queen for it if it's going to mate on your board in one move or two. All right? So you got to weigh everything. What's most important? Do I care about my queen or do I care about my partner mating in one move? You're going to win then, right? So Opera's kind of idea was he could force taking a rook by dropping a queen on e8. And then they would be forced to take with queen or rook, and then your partner just recaptures, and then you get that piece to checkmate on your board. Stop posting that video of me imitating Atrophied. Opera Wesen's gonna judge me. So here I'm just gonna continue. I like this line just because I do get kind of annoyed with the whole sacking on f7, which happens a lot on chess.com. Less on Fix, but a lot on chess.com. So yeah. And then here I'm just playing to hopefully push, that, which is kind of just a weakening. It just weakens a bit here for white. And then here I'm not in the best position, in all honesty, just because I can bring my knight back down here. But if I was to take this bishop out, a simple like knight at h5 gets into this whole line with like rook over, bishop takes h7, and I wouldn't have the knight defending, and it's just a mess. So here I've got threats like pawn, like I can say no queen right here, but the pawn at h6 was more of my worry than a pawn at h7, or here like queen at h7 of course mates me, but I'm not anticipating that he's going to get that. So now I'm just placing my attack, which is basically, some people might be like pawn at h3, but you're not going to be able to recapture it, so pawn at g4 works. And then simply placing this knight on f4 is almost kind of a defensive move and an attacking move, just because yes, he brought the bishop back, and in turn that helped ease up the pressure on h7. So queen is still bad on my board. I'm watching over there, making sure that it's not gonna hurt me. Here I'm thinking of bringing my bishop in just to relieve that threat. I'm not gonna give the queen right now, simply because my partner is in a position where like it's not good. Like it could be a mating threat for if his opponent got a queen. So yeah. And then here, like I can just place another knight on the board simply to just block this for a second, but just to, defend possibly something coming in here. I bring my bishop to f5. Now look how safe I am. The thing about this is that maybe my attack wasn't extremely quick, but the way I placed my pieces helped really defend my king. My partner's in a position where he's not under too bad of an attack. He's going to lose his bishop, unfortunately, but the attack on my partner's board is not deadly. I hope. I mean, you have to be able to maneuver your king in a certain way as well. So here I'm just going to quickly kind of play an attack, hoping that, I can maybe get my attack before that attack comes in. So here, sort of what I want to play is I have like a mate actually with rook e1, queen c1, and then bishop at d2. Okay, so up dead. Maybe he could sit if he's like worried about getting mated. And then there you go. Like my partner's in trouble, but my attack was much faster, and I didn't give pieces that immediately hurt him in too hard of a way. Elysium D says, "Hi, Helms." Can you pause for a second? Okay. Sure. So yeah. Bughouse. Poor Guizbold is just struggling. Wait, did Atrophied answer? What are you talking about? What is that? Got 50 plus views? Oh. Oh no. He gave me a 6 out of 10 for imitation. Where? I'll have to try again then. Maybe I can get it. I mean, I've only watched his videos for like half a second, so. Why do I have to accept this invite every time? General and scroll up, okay. Hello, DJ Chess Dog, how are you? So general, where is that? General, on the left side, okay. General. Okay. General. And then scroll up. Okay, so I click on general, and then I scroll up. I scroll up here. General. General. Oh, general. Okay. Is it here somewhere? What's that noise? What's that noise mean? That doo 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 doo. Oh, does it? Is that a thing? House spot. That's awesome. Oh my gosh. Atrophy. 5 out of 10 impersonation. No points for sounding dead inside, but points for loss of replacing self-deprecation with arrogance. And also, I like to think I only stutter that much when I'm pretending to be drunk. Actually, I go up to 6 out of 10. That's what I get for intentionally making myself stutter, because a friend of mine in high school had a real stutter. Oh my god. Atrophy. Don't kill me. I love your stream, your videos. There we go. Cool. I love it. I love it so much. Oh, amazing. Ah, that's awesome. But what does that noise mean? I keep hearing doo doo doo. So are we gonna play more, Lazy? You want to? I can continue trying to teach. I can totally, if you guys want, I can teach you any Crazy House line. You can choose one, only one, and I will teach you it, like in pretty much almost full depth. Like, for example, E4, E5, or E4, D5, or I don't know. There's D5, D4, D5, E4, E6. What else is there? There's actually not that many lines in Crazy House. Of course, there's more though. There's weird lines too, and then of course like the whole like B4 line. And there's G2. I mean, sorry, G3 Bishop G2 line. I'm not a big fan of that one. There's the same for black, like G6 Bishop G7 line. I'll totally teach you guys a line if you want. Lazy. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. You verse Amen? What? Okay, here we go. So, E4. E4 in Bughouse is considered slightly more aggressive than D4 for certain reasons. Okay, so the problem here with this line is that there are threats with things like pawn or knight at G3 since this pawn's pinned. But if you play an opening fast enough and you're aiming for a specific sort of position, it doesn't really matter. Not too much. So I'm just trying to knock out this bishop now just from that diagonal because it's sort of annoying. And then here I'm pretty safe. And then I can just like place pressure on places. I don't even know where I want to place this bishop. I suppose we can place some pressure on E6. Where you place your pieces is important because I'd sack this in all honesty, because where you place your pieces, not only you need to think of like your defense, your safety, but also of course your attack, and of course your partner's like what pieces they want and pieces they don't want. So here, we're going to just try to knock out this knight, get some more pressure, maybe bring the queen over to h5, place pressure on this square. And of course he's like, uh-oh, I know what she's trying to do. And then we can just take all this because we don't care. We can pin the queen and the rook. We're literally just winning our partners some pieces right now. My position necessarily isn't that good. Like, I need actually pieces here because he's got pieces in hand and I don't. Now, I have won a lot of pieces, that's true, but sometimes that doesn't matter. For example, my partner doesn't have an immediate, actually he has mate. You had mate. And at e2, and at e2, like king over, and then rook at g1, followed by knight f2 was mate after takes. So here, yeah, he's like, oh no, darn it. So here, the problem is I want to bring my queen up, but of course knight at h4 is sort of annoying. But, you know, he's got mate now. So he was able to actually play that mate that I had seen earlier. So all worked out. So that was kind of my thing, is that although I won a lot of pieces, my position was necessarily worse because he had pieces to place and I didn't. And that, so like technically my position was worse, surprisingly. And but I fed my partner and he was able to get checkmate. So it works. These guys don't want to play us. The fear is so strong. How won't they play us? Like, I'm 24. Like, are they actually scared, or are they like, they want us higher rated? I don't even know. Really? Chessbrad did imitation as well? That's hilarious. Thank you for the follow. I super appreciate it. How many followers do I have now? Oh, see, this is a blunder because that line is technically really bad in Bughouse. But what you do to, like, avoid crying is you just let them take the knight, usually. I mean, some people bring it to e4, which is also okay, but I don't necessarily like it that much. So now I'm just thinking of, like, certain ways to get attacks here, open up black's position, you know. The problem here is that I like to castle when the bishop's not able to get to h3, just because it makes life easier for me. Pawns at h3 aren't a big threat anymore because nothing can take them. And here I'm just pushing the pawn to get my bishop some game. And now I have all this attack going on. Like, I've got 2 bishops hitting the king side and my knight as well. And I'm just going to sack my knight here. A pawn's good. Any pieces are good at all, really. And we're up time too, so I can sit for them. And basically the whole idea here is I'm just getting this bishop out of here for a potential knight at h5. Even here it's still good because you got this kind of pawn super weak. So yeah. It's good. It's good. I lost my train of thought of what I was explaining before. Sorry. But yeah, in Bughouse, it's really good to attack the king side. There's less going on the queen side usually, depending on if you castle queen side, which doesn't necessarily happen that much. So a knight mates here. We're up 4 seconds, so I might see if I can get it. Also a queen mates. And, sorry. Hello? Hey, what's up? Yes. Okay, I'm ready to hear it. Okay. Uh-huh. Okay. Oh. You did right now? That's amazing. For what? The whole process? Okay, okay. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's good. And wait, what about the financial support? What about my mom? Because wait, no, no, I'm confused. My mom's not allowed to do anything, but my father is. Okay, then I'm confused. Can you try to explain it again? Because, but my father can. Oh, oh. But even if I don't, if I'm in school, that's weird. Mm-hmm. Oh, I understand. Okay, I understand. Yes, makes sense. Okay. Okay. I hope that he's right because the other person said something completely different. Okay. The one from the club? Really? You sent it on WhatsApp? Yeah, yeah, I saw it. I saw it. Wasn't that was the one for the two you said they charge 200, right? Oh, I only saw one. When did you send the other one? I don't know. I only saw that one link when I checked my WhatsApp. Okay, I'll check it again. So it's 2000 for them to help us with the whole process. That's what you said, right? 2000 for him. It's a guy? Okay. Okay. We can talk about them more when you get home, right? And then we can maybe write down a plan. Because this sounds easier. Yeah. 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 Really? Okay, so you want to do next week? The problem is the Ontario ID doesn't come for 6 weeks. But do you really need two forms of ID or can you just use the passport? Yeah, I Googled it yesterday. Can y- can I just use my birth certificate and the passport for that? I think we only need the two IDs for a joint account. Okay, okay, I'll research it. Hmm. As yours? But what if they find out about my place? What do you mean? What address do I have on my place? Deals? You're not making any sense. What does that even mean? Deals I have on an address. They're my you're okay, what's the question? You're saying my cell phone bill and my Rogers bill, where are they addressed to? My place. I can't because my dad views them. You'll see that it's changed. Okay. We'll figure it out. Mhm. Mhm. Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, maybe we can find something. We'll check. Mhm. Can you repeat that? You got quiet at the end. You said that you have another appointment to see them, or you another person. Okay. Okay. Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I will. Okay. Yeah, I know that too. I remember. I remember they say that. Okay, baby. Is that it? Mhm. Okay. Cool. Okay. I'll check when I'm taking break, okay? Does it matter that I do it quickly or can I do it later today? Okay, cool. Okay, bye. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, I'm back. I don't have any recollection of what I was explaining before the phone call started. My apologies. Ugh. So yeah, this is not a line. I don't know the follow-up though. I liked my thing that I did last time, but I grow concerned with this move, but I guess I just castle before the knight can come to e5. Right? Maybe? I don't know. We can try it out. I actually don't know because nobody plays this. I just know that it's not good. Knight at, come back down. Okay, still come back down. Pawn at looks dangerous, but if defended well, it's not a big deal. So here, you might want to either defend or let's see. Okay, rook is coming. I can see that from my partner's board. So probably best to place a defender, though this is pretty suffocated for my king, which is the concern. So we want to try to defend this quickly. So my partner has a good attack though. So kind of the goal is to make sure that we don't get into any hot trouble. So we just keep placing defenders. The problem with just taking this pawn is the bishop at e5. I mean, I guess we can let that happen if my partner has a mate. Okay, so queen dropped. I'm going to place a pawn. He's going to place a pawn. I'm going to place my queen. Just add some checks. Ooh, I tried to drop his queen. And then I'm going to just do kind of a lame attack over here. I'm not in any trouble too big because I can't actually run my king out. A knight, and my queen defends a knight drop. Checkmate. And then here we can take some stuff. We can add some checks. I was hoping to bring my queen here to add another check. A knight's good here, but my partner has mate and one. So now all that you got to do is just run the king out, and we're actually fine here. There's nothing that he can do. He can bring the queen here, which is probably the best move, because then I would block and he takes and I take, but I can bring my rook over too as a defender. So here I can just bring. So here actually I got to be a little bit careful because, I mean, we're up time, so I don't actually have to move. But if I was to bring my queen up, the check, and then there's no way I can really block it because he takes that, and then I'm mated. So I can't actually move my queen here. I'd have to bring my rook over. I mean, let's learn Bughouse like I'm gonna teach you guys. I've been playing Bughouse since I was 11. I'm like an old timer from Fix. Not the oldest timers because they were there before like even like 1990 something, but decently old timer. So a lot of it is also just kind of improvising moves. Like I don't 100% have a plan behind every move. I mean, I do have plans behind every move I make, but I don't necessarily have theory behind every move I make. Like this is not necessarily something I've played before. It probably is because I've played too many games, but yeah. Now I have this threat. So I'm gonna just give up this. I mean, I'm not giving anything up, but yeah. Oh wait, I'm gonna click it, okay? Jeez, stop being so angry. I'll click it after this game, okay? I actually have it written down on Fix. Let me figure it out. I mean, not including the ones on chess.com or Bughouse Test. I have played about 50,000 games. 50,000 games. Okay? Oh, I'm dropping a knight. That's super awkward. 50,000. I used to play a lot. So here we want to say no queen, I guess, and don't trade too much just because I'm in a little bit of a pickle, but also knight's good. Okay, sit, because he's about to give queen. So sit, don't you move. Don't move. I sit. Yeah, 50,000. So I actually know what I'm doing in Bughouse, okay? In Crazy House, I don't. In Bughouse, I do. In chess, I don't. I want to, though, of course. So now we just live our lives. Stop. Just don't move. Okay. Okay, go, go, go. So now, knight mates. Knight at knight at e7. Oh, just kidding. Okay, now I actually have mate in one. I don't know why I didn't see that. How correlated are bug and chess in my experience? So, Bughouse and chess. Actually, I don't know the line behind this. I think it's this. Bughouse and chess are similar in the sense that if you're downtime or if you don't have pieces, you can obviously play chess kind of moves, but of course you still need to keep the Bughouse strategies in mind when you play them. If you're really good at bullet and fast, you can often use your bullet openings, like even the really chessy ones, if you play them extremely fast in Bughouse. And if Bughouse players are unfamiliar with it, it can be an advantage. So I'd say that chess comes in handy the most in Bughouse after you've gone past the rating 2400. I mean, of course, chess is valuable at all levels, but especially 2400, it does help you improve after that because the top players are good at chess. Most of them, at least. Maybe exception for one or two, but okay, so we're gonna. I almost walked into something silly there, didn't I? If he had gotten a rook, I would have laughed. Okay, so here, like, I'm almost tempted to just say I don't care about this queen because I'm getting kind of lazy and I just want to like attack a lot. So we're just gonna stop caring about the queen because it doesn't make my partner, and I just don't care. So we're gonna just attack because in Bughouse you can do that. So we just like we can first of all I'll maybe just I don't know if I want to take this knight first. I guess I'll just take with the bishop. Now a bishop's actually good for like bishop at f3. And as you can see, I'm pretty safe. Like pawn at e7 is the biggest threat here, which isn't good. Now he's gonna do it, but it's not the end of the world. Like I can almost ignore it pretty much just because I do have bishop takes. And here, like, I don't know. Maybe just no rook, no queen. Oh, the problem here is he's got the bishop check there. That's really annoying, actually. Probably should have thought that through a bit more. So yeah, we're saying no rook. My partner's got a good attack, though. Pawn's good in the sense that it's decent. I'm going to drop my bishop here. Oh, yeah, sorry, Milos. Okay, I'm clicking it. Where is it? This, right? Okay. So I'm going to take here. Drop my knight. And now I have mate. And it depends. Most likely 2. Potentially 1. If he goes down, it's 2. Any other square is 1. Oh, wait, just kidding. It's also 2 if he goes up. My bad. I forgot that I didn't have my rook down here anymore.
In this position, I made my last video about rook takes h7, but in this video I'm going to talk about how rook takes h7 is actually not a good move. So the queen goes to h5, and then the pawn on h7 is going to fall, and I just don't want anyone protesting on my behalf because I have a lot of stripes and chest.
Oh my gosh, this just makes me want to imitate him more. I need to watch his videos first. Mine's funny because I'm a girl. Come on, we know why it's funny. Thought your mine was better. Aw. Thank you. Everybody's always asking me, what do you think about the atrophy thing? This is actually a line. This is actually a theory. Because knight takes, we get knight at h5, which is in theory better than losing your queen. Because you get that whole attack here with the bishop coming in after king over. If king goes up, you got knight at c5. If rook comes over after knight at h5, you got bishop takes h7, and then, you know, everything just falls apart. And also another line is if for example, that attack isn't an option. You have like this bishop comes out to g5, knight takes, this takes. The best move would be pawn at e4. If he doesn't have pawn at e4, then, you know, it's a rough time. And then if he does have pawn at e4, there's moves like putting the knight on h5 if it works then. Moving this knight to g5, letting him take this bishop, taking. Maybe he has the pawn that comes into f3 after that, and then you have this whole attack going on to your king side, but maybe you can drop a knight on b5, you could take, you could defend in some way that defends and attacks, like with a queen at g5 if the knight's not there. Like there's all kinds of there's all kinds of stuff that you can do. Technically, it is a little bit better for black if they get that pawn, but you know, it gets complicated. People play it. I think it's good. Maybe some people disagree with me, but whatever. What's happening here? I don't actually know what's going on. Why does it say no one's moving? Lucky I was black, right? Yeah. I sit.